Hello, my name is Dr. Nish Sonwalkar, and as you know, I have produced many videos in the area of adaptive learning systems. So today's topic is how adaptive learning can help and has been helping in completion rates. As you know, when we talk about online education, one of the biggest criticism which is talked about distance education is the completion rates are very dismal in many cases. I have looked at data on the completion rates for online education, and what we find is that most often the completion rates are close to 50% or even less. I'm sure you must have heard the controversy recently about for-profit online education universities and how their completion rates seems to be not as it is desired. Now, putting aside the question about employability, number one requirement for any good online education system is to have higher completion rates, at least the completion rate that are respectable. So I have done some studies on what are the factors that lead to low completion rates in the current educational model of online education and online learning systems, and then I want to bring you back to adaptive learning system and what is the differentiator there and how that helps in getting higher completion rates. One of the big problem in online distance education is motivation. A student is sitting on his desk and he has to be extremely disciplined to make sure that all the tasks which are assigned to him or her for their online degree programs they are able to complete in a given time frame. Now, you are working in isolation, maybe you will have some discussion board, but that really doesn't help in terms of the motivation of learning. As you know, in classroom, you have a lot of live discussion, the professor is talking to you face to face, and there's a lot of excitement can be built by good teachers and faculty and professors. But online medium is discouraging. So an online medium or any courses which are presented to student in one size fits all and they are not dynamic and not engaging, that's what is one of the main reasons why we see for online education the completion rates become lower, primarily because students are not engaged, not motivated, and also they are trying to get some feedback in real time when they run into some conceptual difficulty, and then they send an email to faculty, and the faculty with 150 emails to deal with every 24-48 hours is not able to answer instantaneously, but the answer may come maybe next day or day after. By that time, most often student has forgotten what the question was. So a system which is one size fits all, which most of the learning management systems out there provide the same content, very static, and they may have videos, they may have some animations, but it's not about throwing media there, but to understand the personal preferences of the learner and then providing them engagement within those personal preferences. So in adaptive learning system, as we have been discussing, that there are 5 different learning strategies that we have designed, namely apprentice, which is step-by-step learning, incidental, which is storytelling or case study based learning, inductive, which is based on real life examples and how you can apply your concepts into real life situations, deductive, based on applications or doing certain exercises or interactive exercises so that you can lead to the principle that you're trying to learn, and finally discovery, where you have a simulation solving puzzles and in an animated learning environment where you can learn by again interacting with interactive elements of the online learning system and the content which is being presented in that online system. So for motivation, if the content is presented in a multiple different ways, that's one aspect. But the other aspect is that, let's say I chose one of the 5 learning strategies, let's say apprentice, and I went through the content, and at the end of the chapter or end of the concept, I took the diagnostic quiz. Then if I, let's say I am able to score 30% out of the number of questions that have been asked, then immediately I need to know what did I do wrong. So in the adaptive learning system, what we have done and what needs to be done in any personalized system is that there has to be some kind of diagnostic and immediate feedback on how a student can improve. And I think that's where we use a very sophisticated statistical inference engine, where we look at every click that student has made throughout the content, and when they take the diagnostic test, how does it compare with about, let's say, 5 to 10 or 15 different variables that include or that are included in this statistical inference process, so that we can provide a real-time feedback to the student. So the feedback is about, okay, you got 30% for the 70% that you did not get right. Let's present content in a different perspective. So it's not enough that you send them back to the same place, but it is very important that you provide slightly different perspective. So now students say, aha, I did not get it first time, but now with inductive learning strategy, I'm able to see some real life examples and I get it now. So once the student is gone through this remediation process or revision process, then they go back again to complete their task of getting the competency to 80% or better. And what we find is that once students understand in an adaptive personalized systems that the system is going to help them learn better and also identify which learning strategy works best for them, they stick to the task. We have looked at a lot of data, and again, as I said, in our model of adaptive learning systems, we provide threshold of 80% competency building. So let's say a student has made 5 attempts going through learning cycles, different learning strategies, and they reach to the 80%. Now they should stop and say, now I can go to the next concept. But what we have seen over and over and over again, that they would not stop. They say, if I can reach from 30% competency to 80%, what is stopping me to get 100% score? And that's when the human gaming gene kicks in and says, aha, I'm going to take 2 more cycles, going through different learning strategies, remedying my competency and get to the 100%. And we see almost in 90% of the time that student would not leave it at 80% threshold. They want to make few more cycles and get to the 100%. And once they get the competency of 100%, guess what happens? They have the confidence of their mastery or their understanding of the content, and then they do and attempt all their assignments and other quizzes in a very, very efficient way and finish their task very quickly, and they complete their courses much faster, and also learning a lot more and engaging with the course content a lot more. So the trend that we have seen is for adaptive learning system, the completion rates are almost 90% to 95%. And we are talking about not only the course completion, but we are also talking about the entire degree completion. And I have followed and done some case studies as well as efficacy studies on various groups in higher education. And what we find consistently for adaptive learning system, the completion rates are much higher. And the kind of discussion then takes place on the discussion boards as well as chat rooms is very different, because students, before they come to the discussion and chat room, they are required to get to the competency of 80% in the content. And that really changes the discussion and the quality of discussion, because now students are familiar with the content and they can ask very succinct and very important question that they are having difficulty with the concept. So coming back to the question, big question of completion rate, I firmly believe that a personalized system which is sensitive not only to the personal preferences of the learner, but also providing real-time feedback on how they can improve themselves and get to certain competency are extremely important, and that leads to the success of personalized adaptive learning systems. Thank you.